Good evening. I am Dr. Antoinette Edwards. I am the Chief of Equity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement for the School Board of Alachua County. And as always, I'm delighted to be here with you this evening as we are sharing with our Parent Academy, or through the Parent Academy, webinars for parents. Again, the purpose of this is for us to empower, support, encourage, and engage with families about things that are really important as we work together in collaboration to lift up our young people, our students, your children. And so we further are engaging with our community by pulling all kinds of experts and persons who have information in different areas that may impact our households. And so on tonight, we have a special guest, and that is Terry Mullen. She is with the National Alliance the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And so we're really excited to have her here with us on tonight as she talks us through how do we provide self-care. That's such an important topic because as we give, we want to make sure that our tanks are not empty. And so as Terry is preparing to come and to share that with you, there's just a few housekeeping things that I do want to share with you on this evening. One is to let you know that you can always find all of our videos, which tonight is one of those that would be recorded on our webpage for the Parent Academy. That can be found at www.sbac for School Board of Alachua County.edu/Parent Academy. Again, that's sbac.edu/Parent Academy. And if you type that in, you'll see where our modules are, what our schedule looks like. But then also, if you've missed some of those recordings, that we've had over the last several weeks or couple of months, then you can certainly go back and review those replays and get some of that information. So we leave those on there so that we can have opportunities to go back and do reviews, so on and so forth. Also, at the end of our sessions, we will give you an opportunity to ask questions. So if you want to put a question in the Q&A or you want to throw it in the chat, you'll do that, and then I'll share those questions out with our presenter. We typically would stay online between 6 and 7. And so if we start getting lots and lots of questions, and we'll share with you where you can send some of those questions to so that we can answer them, because we do close out within that hour time frame. I think those are pretty much our housekeeping deals, points or pieces that we wanted to share. That's the deal that we have for you. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Mullen.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Edwards. Yes, I'm so pleased to be here this evening and tell you just a bit briefly about NAMI. The National Alliance on Mental Illness, we're the local affiliate here in Gainesville. It's the largest grassroots mental health organization in the country. And you might see that, you'll see that green ribbon. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm pleased to be here to talk about self-care. And information about our organization, contact information is at the end of my slide presentation. But our mission really is to provide education, support, and advocacy for individuals with mental illness and for their families. So why is self-care important? Self-care encourages you to maintain a healthy relationship with yourself so that you can transmit the good feelings to others. You cannot give to others what you don't have yourself. While some may misconstrue self-care as selfish, it's far from that. I always like to think of the word selfish as self-ish, I-S-H. When you pay adequate attention to your well-being, you're not considering your needs alone. You're reinvigorating yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself for the people around you. Everyone around you also benefits from the renewed energy and joy you exhibit. And I think about the mask on the airplane. So the flight attendant goes over that and says, put your mask on first before helping others. And it's so true. We have to take care of ourselves in order to be there for others. So I'm going to talk about the senses, and the first being sight. And I want to give you some examples of ways to take care of yourself. Watch a nature documentary. Take photos of your favorite things. I have a dear friend who's a photographer, and not only does she take photographs, but she posts them on Facebook. And no doubt that you have Facebook friends that do that. But it's just so special. She had one recently of sandhill crane babies at Sweetwater Wetlands Park, and just so beautiful. So, being out in nature is such a way to take care of yourself. Humor, laughter, looking at funny pictures or memes online. My daughters love to send me funny videos. Some people are comfortable with TikTok. And I'm not on it very much, but I certainly enjoy the videos that my daughters send me. Go stargazing. So these are just some of the examples of self-care using, focusing on your sight. Smell. You may have many ideas yourselves, but here are just a few. Finding that candle that really is soothing. Perhaps you like lavender. Lighting a candle can be such a and having the smell surround you can be a very comforting thing to do. Baking cookies or favorite meal and enjoying the aroma. I myself don't drink coffee, but I love the smell of coffee. My husband brews his coffee in the morning. I make my tea, but the smell of the coffee, for some reason, go for a walk and smell some flowers. I will personalize it by saying that jasmine that blooms this time of year, and I guess we might be getting towards the end of it. That smell for me is just divine. I sit out on the porch, and we don't have any in our yard, but the people next door have it. So maybe put on your favorite perfumes. One thing, I took a self-care course, and the instructor had us each take a little spray bottles, and fill it with water and then add essential oils to it. And I remember doing that. Lavender, I love lavender, and rose. And you can just spritz yourself, spray at different times. Perhaps you like the smell of lemon. So I'm personalizing that. Also soaking in the, I don't have it here and I need to add it, but having a soak in the tub and putting those essential oils in it. Listening to your favorite music. So now we'll move on to sound. Listening to your favorite music. Listening to something that relaxes you online. So for example, maybe you've discovered that you can listen to waves as in the ocean, that you can find that on the web. And there are so many apps, and I'm going to talk about towards the end about some very helpful apps that you can listen to as well. That can relax you. Play an instrument. Perhaps you've played in the past, and you may want to go back and pick up that instrument and play. So, taste. We talked about the smell of wonderful food, eating something delicious. Drinking a tasty beverage. Many people like to drink an herbal tea at the end of the day. I think of Sleepy Time by Celestial Seasoning, for example. And when I say practice mindfulness while you're experiencing these pleasures, what I mean is Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk, who really is credited with having introduced mindfulness to the world, would do, and I've listened to him do mindfulness sessions where you're drinking a cup of tea, and you do it mindfully. In fact, if you are able to focus on what you're doing, to sitting down and taking those few minutes, sitting and drinking the tea, and as you're drinking it, I see my cup, I'm lifting up my mug, I'm drinking the tea, so that, if you're not familiar with mindfulness, it's essentially staying in the present, focusing on exactly what's going on in the present. If you went for a mindful walk, for example, you would be deliberately taking each step, and you would be focusing on what you see and perhaps what you hear, all of the senses that you smell. Touch, so important, so very important. During COVID, when we couldn't connect with each other and we couldn't hug, how difficult that has been, and how special it is to be able to have, more and more, to be able to give each other hugs when we want to. Snuggling up under a blanket, well, not this time of year necessarily, but you know what I mean. Going outside and feeling the sun on your skin, it's so important to get fresh air and being outside. Walking barefoot in the grass or in the sand. I was talking about scented oil in a bath. But having the hot shower or warm bath, and then also if getting a massage, that can be such a wonderful example of self-care. So here are some other examples. Ordering or making your favorite food. I've talked about that before, but it's very important. And the bottom line is the healthier that I don't need to tell you this, but the healthier that we eat, it's such an example of taking care of ourselves. Watching your favorite movie, listening to your favorite song, watching a theater show. There are many of them online. This website, whatsonstage.com, is one example. Reading your favorite book, getting involved with a book club, or even starting a book club. I know that the library, our public library, has they have a kit which includes perhaps 10 copies of the same book and a book discussion, and you can borrow it and invite friends to be a part of that. Work on an art project. So my oldest daughter is an artist, and she has displayed her work at the Gainesville Fine Arts Association and has gotten recognitions, Award of Merits. And we talk about that because I myself am not inclined in any way. I'm not artistic, is what I say. But what she says is everybody can. Everybody can do art. There's lots of resources online, but just think about getting something very simple and drawing, or I myself got a watercolor pad and some watercolors, and my goal is to just to start, just schedule some time. And I think that's one really great tip that I was given, and that is, everyone is so very busy. Everybody has so much on their plate, and you as a parent have so many commitments. So it's hard to find time to take care of yourself. So I invite you to schedule some time to do something that you enjoy. And it doesn't have to be art. I've given already so many ideas. But I know for myself, I've taken a couple of workshops of art, and I enjoyed it so much. It was just so much fun. But it's like actually doing it. So perhaps you write in a journal. It's a really wonderful tool to take care of yourself. Some people, it's very helpful to them, and perhaps you've done it in the past, and you might want to consider it and make it work for you. If writing once a week works for you, there are lots of online options as well to help you to make it easier for you. But journaling can be a very good way to I know for myself, the journaling that I do, I don't do it regularly, but when I go back and read what I've written in the past, it can be very enlightening to me that, this was going on. And I'll skip to the next one, the gratitude journal. The research shows that those who are grateful and really focus on what they're grateful for, it's an excellent way to take care of yourself and to stay mentally healthy. And I know myself what a difference it makes in my life when I can during the day focus on what I'm grateful for. Sometimes people write those down, and if that might be something that would be helpful to you. Play with your pets if you have an animal. Yeah. And one of the beautiful things about having a pet is that many times, if they're a dog, for example, they have to be walked. And so that gets you outside and gets you around other people too. So playing with your pets. Taking photos of some of your favorite things, going through old photos and sharing with family and friends. During COVID, I began the project of going through all of our family pictures that were not digital. So, and it was really amazing. I would take a picture of it, of one, and send it to the family member that the person who was in the picture, and it was so special. And my father-in-law, I sent him, he's a widower, and I sent him quite a few, and it's just a wonderful, loving thing to do. And it's very, in terms of, for yourself to have that, going back over those, some happy times. Staying connected with your friends and family members, so important. I think that is a real sign of mental health, is the connections and the more that we're able to do that, the better. And as I had said before about a soak in the tub, pampering yourself with a face mask or a bubble bath or whatever makes you feel good about yourself, having your nails done, having a pedicure. So it's very important also to exercise your brain. And these are just some simple ideas. And I think, even just as simple of taking care of your surroundings, that is a form of self-care. Trying something you've never done before. I really encourage you to do that, because to stretch your your comfort level. Making a to-do list. This is what I need to get done. It's important for myself. Working on a jigsaw or crossword puzzle. And some people really enjoy things like word search or crossword puzzles. Wordle, you may be familiar with that. I think the more that we engage and learn, the better. And I know for myself that audiobooks have been just really a wonderful way for me to take care of myself. And Alachua County, I was telling someone this morning about Overdrive. Alachua County libraries have an app, and you can download ebooks and you can download audiobooks. And we have a phenomenal library collection. It really shocks me. I listen to something, for example, on public radio. I interview an author and I check, and I've been amazed at the collection. So I encourage you to check that out. Take a free online course. One of my daughters just told me about, and I didn't put the link in here, but there's a psychological, I want to say that it's called Psychological First Aid, and it was, and I'll be sure to get that information out. It was developed under the auspices of the Veterans Administration, and that it's completely free, and the focus is on post-traumatic stress disorder. So there's just so much free online courses. And here's an example, the Coursera.org. Play a game, listen to a podcast. Some people really find those helpful. There's just so many different ones out there. Making a list of short-term and long-term goals for yourself. Just some. So it's important that we do focus on our spiritual, and spiritual means something different for each person. For some, watching a religious service online or attending a place of worship can be very comforting, and others reading poetry or inspiring quotes, meditating. Spending time in nature, as I was talking about earlier. Praying, that may be one that would be helpful to you. Singing, and then the practicing mindfulness that I talked about earlier. And I'm gonna definitely go over them, but there are some really great apps that will facilitate the meditation. So when we focus on our emotional health, it's really important that we accept our feelings as okay. There are feelings, they're not bad, they're not good, and that being able to express our feelings in a healthy way. I was talking about the journaling. Sometimes it can be helpful to write your feelings down. Being able to go and talk with somebody that you feel safe with just is just such an important part of self-care. Sometimes having a good cry, watching or listening to something that makes you laugh, and I just think that humor is such an important part of self-care. I really do. I can't emphasize that enough. Practicing self-compassion. What do you say to yourself? What are some of the things that you find yourself thinking? Are you treating yourself in a loving way? Are you gentle with yourself? Are you kind and understanding? Many times that's not the case. We're our own worst enemy, that we really are harsh on ourselves if we make a mistake or do something that we regret. To be able to treat ourselves gently and certainly hold ourselves accountable, but also to realize that that I'm human and that I'm going to make mistakes. And how do you treat other people? That you want to treat yourself the same way. Practicing self-love mantras. There's a lot of them out there. The affirmations, and that may be helpful to you. Learning to say no. That can be very difficult for a lot of people. Being able to say no. We can fall into that trap of becoming overextended, and then we're running on empty, so to speak, and we are unable to take care of ourselves. And like I said at the beginning, then it's difficult to be there for others. So being able to look at, hey, do I have the time for this? Do I have the energy? Do I have the passion? And if not, to say no. And you can say it, and giving yourself permission to say no. Of course, we have to focus on the physical. How very important exercise is to self-care, and there are just so many ways to exercise that, but finding that one that fits for you, works for you, or more than one, is just so important. So drinking lots of water. It's absolutely very important. And again, all of these are ones that are like, people have little tips. One of the things that I learned is to just always have the water bottle with me and try to keep it filled. And certainly, especially in the hot weather, but all year long. So getting into that habit. Practicing yoga or qigong. Again, there are so many free yoga sites on YouTube. And qigong, and being able to, I think that's been one of the most amazing things, is that how much you can do on Zoom. People tell me that all of the different classes that they take online, and it just makes it more doable. To have to leave and drive somewhere, it just adds another layer of difficulty. So making it easier, going for a walk or a run. Walking is so beneficial. I'll hear people say, well, I just walk. No, walking is an excellent form of exercise. Dancing. It seems like the only time that I dance is at weddings, and I don't go to very many weddings. So I was thinking, I went to one recently. I was thinking afterwards, I'm going to turn on dance music and dance. And if anybody else is home, I'm going to invite them to as well, because it just seems like whenever there's dancing, it seems to me it's just a lot of fun, just a lot of just be relaxing and enjoying. So that's another example. Simply stretching, is such a wonderful way of taking care of your body. Of course, and it's incorporated in yoga, but you can derive a great deal of benefit from stretching. When you are able to relax, muscle relaxation techniques can just improve, your well-being. Going for a bike ride, eating a healthy meal, taking a nap. How often do we do that? Even just going and lying down. I have a brother-in-law who gets up very early. He just always has, and perhaps you get up early too. He gets up about 5, and he always takes a rest in the middle of the day. It's just an excellent form of self-care. Getting enough quality sleep, if at all possible, going to bed and getting up at the same time every day can be very, very helpful. Perhaps you have an app that you already use that helps you to do that, to kind of give you that warning when it's time to prepare for bed. Perhaps you've been during the quarantine. Perhaps you began to. Chances are you had used Skype and FaceTime before, but perhaps you've begun to use Zoom to stay connected with friends and family that are far away, and that can be such a wonderful way to take care of ourselves. The bottom line is face-to-face, then is the best, of course, then videos, then talking on the phone, and then text, so from the best ways to communicate down. And I didn't add writing letters, but I think letter writing is a lost art, and I think it's a wonderful thing to consider. And that's the last one, as you see, the write and mail a letter to someone. And I think that's pretty high up there on the list of ways to communicate. Attending online support groups. there are many out there. And at the end, I have some information about support groups. Reconnecting with a friend or with a family member, someone you hadn't talked to in a while. I had mentioned before about joining a book club or hosting a book club. And I think that's another thing that doing that on Zoom is another way that can make it. I remember years ago being in a book club, and we all met together, and with people's schedule, everybody's schedules, it can be challenging. So considering doing it on Zoom. Having a game night. This is one website that you could check out. And then, like I said before, writing a letter. I had mentioned, earlier, and here are some of the barriers to us practicing self-care. That our time is limited, and that we do have a lot of commitments, and you as parents are, oftentimes it's difficult to find the time and energy, that when you do have so much on your plate that quite frankly you're tired. Another one is it seems simple enough, but it's that you forget. And that was why I had said to really consider scheduling in ways to take care of yourself. And perhaps you already do this, but actually writing, putting it on your calendar, just like you put on your calendar the other things that you have to do, appointments that you have, and appointments. So you go to the dentist and you go for your regular checkups, and those are all really important forms of self-care. Very important, not putting those off. So by the same token, you can schedule some of the fun things to take care of yourself. The fourth one, that you don't feel deserving, that, and that harkens back to the, when we take time for ourselves, that we feel selfish. And, really taking a look at that, I invite you to embrace the idea that how important it is to practice self-care. And I was going to say too that this is one of the best gifts in my experience. My children are grown, but it's one of the best ways to one of the best ways that we can help our children. So that when my daughters ask me how I'm doing, and I'm able to tell them, well, I'm doing great. And this, I've been doing this, and I've been doing that. And I am retired, so I have more time. I can do volunteer work. I can stay connected. And just how wonderful that is, because they want to see us as thriving and enjoying our lives. And not only that, it's such a great way. Let's face it, children, the saying, actions speak louder than words. So when they see us doing this, what a great message it is for them. You might consider, you've probably heard this, that if you have an exercise partner, that really can, that helps you to stay on track with your exercise. And if if the person that you may be lucky enough to have someone that can exercise with, but if not, that you can stay in touch and hear about how they're doing and share how your exercise. Perhaps you're training for a race. Perhaps you're a runner and you have somebody that you can connect with. And I think that's another thing, is that there's so many blogs and opportunities to connect with other athletes or others who are in the sport that you're interested in. Setting reminders, on your phone, setting a reminder to, some people like to set a reminder to, 3 times a day to stop and, think about something they're grateful for, or take a few minutes just to breathe in and out, do some breath work. And then, but like I said, if you've scheduled it, and then you can have a reminder, just continuing ways to maximize your chance that you'll be able to do these things that you want to do to take care of yourself. So I was talking about self-care apps, and these are I think some very good ones. And the first one, Mind Shift, CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, helping teens and young adults cope with anxiety. There really is a lot of resources out there online, and certainly you have to be careful and get some recommendations from professionals. But the next one, Take a Break, guided meditations for stress relief, to help you with coping with stress. I was talking about the different meditation apps. Breather, that's a nice one. Ways to practice mindfulness. Stop, Breathe, and Think. Meditation and mindfulness to help you build an emotional strength and confidence to handle life's ups and downs. Oak, meditation, breathing, and sleep. And Oak is it's a simple app, but I think it's a very good one. There's the 3 focuses, the 3 different areas, simple ways to meditate, breath work, the sleep. I actually learned about Oak from a student at Gainesville High School. In student government, we did a program on mental health at Gainesville High School several years ago, and she had difficulty sleeping. And the nice thing about that feature on the Oak app was that she could time it for a certain amount of time, and she could choose what noise. And white noise was the one that was helpful to her, but there are all different kinds. Rain, a soft rain was one. Babbling brook is another one. So, mood tools to help you lift your mood. So the last one is called Insight Timer. And I am very, very fond of Insight Timer. It is a free app. There are things in the app that you could purchase, but it's completely free. And there are guided meditations. There's a timer so that you can set the amount of time and meditate yourself. There's the guided meditations. You can search for a topic. You can search for the amount of time that you can spare. You can take yoga classes. I didn't know about that for quite a long time until somebody, because I would listen to the guided meditations. I used the timer, but I just missed it. And someone mentioned it to me, and I was like, wow. They literally have bedtime stories. And so, for example, I just pulled up the app and it says, don't be pushed by your problems. It just dissolves. So let me see if it'll come back for me. Sorry about that. When you open the Insight Timer app, it always has a quote. It's kind of neat. So down at the bottom, you click on Discover, and there are options, as I said, for timer, different bedtime stories to help facilitate sleep, and all different kinds, actual stories, but also guided meditations. There's a there, like I said, yoga. There's one section on anxiety. It says, anxiety is our body's way of preparing for a fight or flight response. It's usually triggered by perceived future events, many which do not eventuate. A regular daily meditation practice can help anxiety sufferers to focus on staying in the present moment and seeing a situation for what it is. And a really important form of self-care is trying to stay in the present, and meditation and mindfulness can really help with that. And it can be just as simple as 5 minutes. So I think I told you a lot about that one. And like I said, these are no charge. Here are some other apps. The first one, LYF, Self-Care Social Community. Healthy Minds, which is currently free. COVID Coach. Some more. And you may have some apps yourself, and if you do, please put them in the chat. Just seems like I learn about new ones all the time. There really are a lot out there. So, as I mentioned, I'm with NAMI, and this is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Their website is NAMI.org, and there's a great deal of information on the website. The Youth Mental Health Project, another really wonderful organization. That's their website. The Child Mind Institute provides lots of resources. The next one, gratefulness.org. Gratefulness.org has you can sign up for a daily email. And I really, really love the emails that I get. They come from a Network for Grateful Living. And if it'll load, I'll read you one that from the recent past. But it's a great nonprofit, great organization, and their website has lots of good information on it. This is just a simple one. It was a quote from Catherine May. Life meanders like a path through the woods. We have seasons when we flourish and seasons when the leaves fall from us, revealing our bare bones. Given time, they grow again. I have a friend who's fighting breast cancer, and she will send me really cute, sometimes sweet, but and sometimes really funny texts, little, whatever you call them, pictures, and I try to reciprocate. But there have been so many of these email quotes that I'll just take a screenshot and send it. I'll send it to my sisters. It's just a way of, first of all, when I read it, it means something to me, and then just like spreading that out there. Lives in the Balance, and perhaps you've heard of Dr. Ross Greene. He's amazing, and I recommend him for parents. Kids in the House. They have the largest parent video library in the world. Seriously, every topic that you can think of. The next one, talking about every topic, Kids Health. I went on this website recently. Resources for not only parents, but teens and children. They're all doctor reviewed, and they're from the Nemours Foundation. That's another really great resource. And then Okay to Talk, an online community for teens and young adults struggling with mental health problems. And I check that out, and that is sponsored by NAMI. Online support groups. I mentioned that before. NAMI has on Zoom still a family support group that meets the second, I didn't mention it here, but the second and fourth Mondays of the month. But we also have a 6-week class called Basics. And that class is on demand from NAMI. And it helps parents who have children with a mental health condition, with one of the teachers with a great deal of information. What I just shared with you, some of those children's sites is included. I got that information from the Basics resources. So I encourage you to go to NAMI.org and look for the Basics. If you're interested in taking the class. We're currently not scheduled, but if you have interest or any questions, I will put my email in the chat. And I also, at the end, I have the NAMI Gainesville email. Depression Bipolar Support Alliance, they have support groups, and they're on Zoom. And then there's the final one is called We Connect Recovery. So I want to thank you all for joining me this evening. This is the NAMI Gainesville's phone number and also the email.
Well, thank you so much, Terry. I appreciate it. I don't think that you actually read the quote that you have on here for joining. So I'm going to read it if that's okay. Every situation in life is temporary. So when life is good, make sure you enjoy and receive it fully. And when life is not so good, remember that it will not last forever and better days are on the way. And so that's a quote here shared by Jenny Young. I know that you've shared so many valuable things. I want to share with our audience that if you have specific questions, if you would please put those in the chat or the Q&A, then Terry would be happy to respond to those. But I know for myself, it was very valuable in being able to hear about self-care in so many aspects of living. Sometimes when we think about self-care, we just think about taking a bubble bath or having a break. But to know that you can involve all of your senses, right? Your sense of taste and smell and how, even tactile, right? Being able to feel certain things. And then thinking about like your writing and engaging with people and the social aspects of it, it just kind of lets us know that doing things that are fun and enjoyable in every area of life helps us to be more healthy. And so I appreciate you sharing that. And I guess I probably need to walk a little more and not just say that it's just walking, right? So
Yes, definitely.
thank you for that. Are there any questions that we have from our viewers on today? If they're not, then we will move forward, but I do want to give you an opportunity to share them in the chat or in the Q&A. I do know that she's covered quite a bit on today in terms of just thinking through some stuff that we can do. And I want to encourage you as parents, while we're moving forward through the summer and even when the school year is in session, to just think about just a couple of those things that she shared on today that might impact you with your self-care. She said it very well, and I know that many people use the example of what happens when you're on a flight and those, you know, there's a potential danger or something occurs on a plane, and they say when those oxygen masks come down, don't go directly to, you know, a parent who might be older that you're concerned about, or to send it to your youngest child, because you have to take care of yourself first, make sure you have oxygen so you can better assist. And so that's all this self-care is about, is making sure those things happen. Also, Ms. Mullen today has shared within the chat her contact information. So if you wanted to write down her email, it's Terrie, Terrie, at NAMIGainesville.org. And NAMI is NAMI because that's, again, for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So Terrie at NAMIGainesville.org. That is the way that you can reach her via email. I don't think that we have any questions in the chat. I guess my thing would be, I'll ask a question for the audience just in case. Is there a certain time that we should engage in self-care? Like this, should it be like twice a week or a frequency that occurs?
That's a great question. You know, from my experience, as much as you possibly can, you know, realizing that you have a balance, you have things you have to do in your life and responsibilities, but the more that you can carve out, and also realizing, you know, our values come in to this, you know, what am I spending? You know, I had said earlier about making short-term and long-term goals. What am I spending my time on? You know, where is my time going? Is this filling me up? Is this something that's replenishing me? If not, then you know, I have the opportunity to make some changes you know, spend my time doing something else. So that would be a thought that I have, because we do have a finite amount of time. So I know that's a great question. It really is. And also, you know, not putting pressure on ourselves. You know, what, you know, oh, I ought to be able to do this, this, and this. Well, you know, that you look at yourself and be realistic and say, these are, and also I'm thinking too incremental, you know, that I'm going to do one thing, you know, and see, you know, the other is like, okay, I know that I only have this amount of time. I'm going to carve out this amount of time. So what is it that I really want to do? You know, all these ideas. So I guess, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it does. I feel like I hear you say that it may be the walk, or it might be listening to the app or music, it might be journaling, but I could pick out whatever is most influential for me and choose that and work on that if I have limited time, and just kind of start there. And I can start small. It doesn't have to be every day, but just make sure that I make some time to do it.
Right, right, exactly.
Absolutely. And that's not, also, if I remember correctly from the beginning of your presentation, you talked about selfish, right? And so it's not, we shouldn't feel guilty also about carving that time out, because it just empowers us. And I think I can't remember the exact word you use, invigorates, maybe it might have been the word that you used in the
Yeah.
beginning, and
Mhm.
just gives us more energy to move forward. And so I think sometimes people feel guilty about doing things for themselves.
I really do think so. And so being vigilant about that. I know for myself too that, and I don't think I added this in the PowerPoint, and that is that I really try, and I try as early in the day as I possibly can I have different page a day readers, and reading those are really helpful because it just, so positive, uplifting, and there's so many, people do daily readings, religious. So I encourage you to get into a habit of some kind of positive readings that help you to, just staying, in that place of certainly we have problems, but also looking at all of the richness of life.
Thank you. Very well said. I think that's a very good way to end. I think it focuses on what you shared earlier in terms of living this life with gratitude, right? And taking those opportunities to just focus on the positives, because it keeps us uplifted and focused and happy. And when we're happy, we have more energy and we can support other people better. And so we have to be very intentional, though, about that. I hear you saying. And so parents, be intentional throughout the summer. We're kind of concluding with this for our webinars for the 21-22. I'm already a year ahead, the 21-22 school year. And so please be intentional about taking care of yourselves, because that is the best way to help take care of your family members as well, and those whom you love and are near and dear to. I want to encourage you again to go back to sbac.edu/Parent Academy, where you can find all of our recorded videos. And so after this session, we send these off. And once we get the edits done, it is posted to the site for you to be able to go and check in on. And at some point moving forward, we will also be sending out some surveys to hear more of like what you want to hear about, who you want to hear from, so that we can share those in webinars. But I hope that this has been beneficial to you. And I'll leave you with this. Go take care of yourselves. All right. Thank you, Ms. Mullen. I appreciate you so much. Have a great day.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.